Hey there, amazing listeners. Welcome to Family, Business, and Beyond. I'm Debra Kane, and if you're a mom trying to juggle everything from diaper changes to business meetings, or someone just looking for a bit of joy and inspiration, you've found your new favorite podcast. Here, we talk about everything from launching your dream business to finding joys in family chaos, all while having a few laughs along the way. Each episode is packed with real stories, practical tips, lots of science, and a sprinkle of the unexpected to keep you hooked from start to finish. Ready to transform your life and have some fun? Let's get started. Hey there, amazing listeners. Welcome to Family, Business, and Beyond. I'm Debra Kane. And if you're a mom trying to juggle everything from diaper changes to business meetings, or someone just looking for a bit of joy and inspiration, you've found your new favorite podcast. Here, we talk about everything from launching your dream business to finding joys in family chaos, all while having a few laughs along the way. Each episode is packed with real stories, practical tips, lots of science, and a sprinkle of the unexpected to keep you hooked from start to finish. Ready to transform your life and have some fun? Let's get started. Hey everyone, our guest today is Andy Charles. Andy is a minister, public speaker, life coach, and an author with a passion for transformation. Andy's objectives are simple: world peace, empowerment, and true freedom for all mankind, to spread the love of God throughout the world and to build enterprise to the point of philanthropy. Simple, right? Andy, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure being with you, Deborah. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I have to tell people we met, not really met in person, but we met online in another, I think it was a speakers group. And I just, whatever you said, we had very short time. Was it 20 seconds, 30 seconds? I don't know, to say what we did. Whatever you said that day just resonated so much with me. First of all, we talk about a lot of the same things in our coaching, but you said it with such, so much more eloquence, and you added much more spirituality. It just, I just said to myself, I have to do something with this man. And here we are. So I'm glad.
So am I.
Good,
Here
good.
we are.
Yes, we are. So let me ask you right off, transformation, you talk about transformation in your bio even, and that's a really big word for people. So tell me, just let's hit it off. What's the most surprising transformation that you've had with your clients?
I think it's the desire for them to become so much more consistent with the decisions that they make in life. A lot of people reach the fork roads in life, whether it's their job, their business, their career, their personal life, their social status, their economic status. And they have a challenge deciding, Deborah, whether they need to go left, back, stay where they are, or go forward. In some circles, we call it the midlife crisis. When I work with these clients, the biggest transformation that I see is when they realize that the opportunity for them to go forward and to make positive and engaging and endearing changes in their lives is much more simpler than they thought. So, what do? I work on their strengths. Forget your weaknesses. Don't focus your energy and your time on your weaknesses. What are the things that you are able and capable of doing? The things that come really natural to you, the thing that can help you define yourself better than anything else and helps you shows up at your best despite what is happening. And you wake up in the morning and you could jump right into it. What is that thing? Can you define that? That is your strength. What value do you place on that? And when we come to the point where we recognize a value, now that value is not necessarily a dollar value, but we give them the opportunity to decide, do you want your story to be aligned with that value? And if your story aligns with the value, then you have so much more to work on than you thought you had before. And then we get over that phase, we carve out a direction in which they can go in. And when they see the different options that are available to them, I see the light in their eyes. I see the passion light up because now they are given hope. They can make changes. They can drop their limiting beliefs. They can drop the annoyance from friends and families who are telling them they can't or they are not ready yet. All these things they face. So at the end of the day, I think the most important aspect of that transformation is when they come to a place where they recognize clarity, intentionality, and purpose.
That is wonderful. I'm glad you said it in such a concise way, because many people are stuck there. And you're right. As soon as they realize that they were thinking about it in a whole different way, and there is another way to see things, sometimes you get that restraint where they are not so sure. But once you have that breakthrough, and I found most of the time it's sooner than they think. Yeah, it makes you feel good, right? It's like a teacher who sees her student finally get something. It's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I know that I try to bring some spirituality into what I do. I like the idea of not walking on eggshells. And I tell my people right off the bat that I'm a believer, and it doesn't matter to me if you are or you aren't or what you believe. We're here to coach, but I may sometimes say the words. I may say God, I may say Jesus, I may say heaven. I don't know. You never know what comes out of my mouth, but I'm saying it because that's what I believe. I don't push it onto anyone else. But spirituality is a very personal thing to a lot of people. How do you tailor your spirituality, your spiritual guidance, I should say, for each unique client?
Okay, I love that question, Deborah. And so it is really simple. We are made up of three different assets or facets. We are body, we are mind, and we are spirit. The first thing I tell my clients is you need to have a mindset that addresses all three aspects of your life. They ask me why. I said, because you need to have a balance. Your approach to who you are as an individual, taking care of yourself, must be holistic. So whether you believe in Allah, Jah, the universe, I call him God, the creator, the eternal creator, what is your connection to this individual, this being that you look up to from a spiritual perspective? I am not going to impose my spiritual beliefs upon you. And I'm going to tell you it is not based on religion, it's based on spirituality. In other words, are you going to take time out to feed your spirit man, which at the end of the day adds so much more clarity and intentionality to your life? Because here's the thing about it. What we don't understand, Deborah, is that when you take care of the spirit man and you bring the spirit man to the fore and you feed the spirit man, it gives you a greater desire to take care of the other two. And that happens because we are always trying to find out what the vibes are around our lives. Sometimes we are more spiritual than we think we are, but we didn't have someone pointed it out to us in a manner that is so specific, so detailed, that we seeing it, we hearing it, we thinking it. I give them an example. I say, have you ever gone into a room and you meet someone for the first time and you feel a connection? And they're like, yeah. So that's a spiritual thing. It's called symbiosis. And at the end of the day, what happens is that there is something about the energy that you are given off that's connecting to the energy of the other person, even though they are a total stranger and you're meeting them for the first time. And so when this sense of awareness comes and they realize, wait a minute, I say, what about your favorite barber, your taxi driver, the accountant, somebody that you meet on a regular basis and you have this connection? What brings you two together? Sometimes they can't answer. So I let them know this is what happens. And when you combine that, not just as a knowledge, but as an experience, you embody it and you put body and soul together and you have that balance and it becomes holistic, you are a better balanced person as a result of it. Your life becomes so much more fulfilling. Your clarity, your intentionality, and your purpose becomes radiant and clear. And now you can go out there and face the challenges of life on a better footing because you are more balanced as an individual.
Tell you, if more people would understand that, it would make what I do so much easier because I work with a lot of parents, moms especially, and some of them are very reluctant, especially if their husband and if they don't have the same actual religion. Um, a lot of them are very reluctant to teach their kids anything. And I'm stressing so hard to I'm like, please give those kids a foundation. I don't care what it is, give them something to believe in. And yeah, I'm not getting that point across, but I'm going to use some of your words, I think, because it's so important. I see kids, I volunteer at the schools still to this day, and I see kids who are struggling because they just don't have that. They're confused. And I know that has to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
I see it all, yeah, in all the schools. So anyway, yes, that I agree completely. One more question about spirituality that I was curious about, because you also work with conflict resolution. And I was wondering if you have a special tip for us on how to weave that spirituality into conflict resolution. I actually have had a client ask me, do I have any divine tips on getting through a heated situation? I'm like, I don't have a divine tip, but let me give you some steps. So what do you do? Do you have some special miracle tips for us?
No, it's not a miracle tip. But what I do is I create a scenario where I ask them about practical things in their life. Now, remember, in my previous answer, excuse me, I told you about thinking of the relationship that you have with somebody that you know. How do you relate to that person? Even though you don't spend time in a household or under the same roof with them, your barber, the taxi driver that you love, the Uber driver that you just connect with out of the blue. How does that happen? And when they can't answer, I say to them, you have to understand that at the end of the day, people are people everywhere we go. There are some days you will not connect with anybody, but it is not their fault, it is your fault. It starts with you. Your level of connectivity that you put out there is what is going to come back to you. So, before you hit the road, before you get out of your bed even, try to connect with yourself and with that supreme being that you believe in, that has created you or has have you here. And remember, your life, when you step out, you are giving that creator, that individual, the opportunity to get a return on the investment they made by putting you here. Start your day with that first step. That's one of the basic and most important key to you having that sense of awareness of who you represent and why your purpose is destined only for you. So what you put out is what you're going to get in return.
Great answer, which leads me right into some great leadership topics that I want to touch on. But actually, before we get deep into leadership, there's one question about money that I am curious about. What I actually wrote down some notes because I didn't want to forget. Oh, here it is. How do you handle money issues with your clients? As far as I know, the Bible does not say that money is evil. It says that the money is a tool that can be used for good or evil, just like a lot of things. And obviously, we all need money to survive. This is the world we live in. We have to pay for things, right? But a lot of people are confused about money in general, about what they should or shouldn't do with it or about it. For example, I have clients on both ends of the spectrum. Some clients who feel so much guilt because they either have too much money or want too much money. And then I have clients who are struggling, literally struggling to live, to get by, who can barely pay their bills. It's really hard to make that connection and I can explain all the things that I know, but still it's hard for them to come to terms. So what would you do with clients like that? How would you handle those different situations?
First of all, the Bible does say that the love of money is the root of all evil. How we relate to that is extremely important. But the first thing that we have to understand about money, Deborah, is that it's a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool that we use for what? For investment, to pay our bills, to have a better lifestyle, to create savings, or to create other investments that would put our monies into, whether it's real estate, stocks, bonds, those other stuff that we do with regards to the other currency that exists in the world now, bitcoins, etc. However, at the end of the day, if you're in a position where you find that money is something that is elusive, what you have to examine is, what is my mindset about money? What is my thinking about money? How do I see money? Even more important than that, and this is something that people find very hard and difficult to deal with, do my values as an individual align themselves with money? If that is the case, I need to change that mindset, because you cannot put, in the first place, a dollar value on your values. It's impossible to do that. But what you can do is separate the two. Leave your values outside of the money cycle, because remember, money is just a tool. The reason why people get caught up and they become addicted to things like gambling, um, having a kind of frivolous lifestyle, is because they want so much more of this tool, because they have attached some of their personal and emotional value to it. It's like a dopamine hit. But at the end of the day, when the money runs out and you can't get any more, you find yourself unfulfilled. You find yourself lacking that sense of stability as an individual. So what you have to do is you have to separate the money from your personal emotional self. Separate the money from your personal spiritual self. You may not be able to do so with your physical self, because you need money to buy clothes, to pay the bills, to put food on the table, to keep the roof over your head. Okay, fine. If you recognize those things as the priority, what are you willing to do now with regards to your time, which is your most precious commodity? Don't spend your time. Invest your time. So understand now, you have 24 hours in a day. Let's get pen and paper out. How are we going to invest that 24 hours to get three things? One, clarity. Two, productivity. Three, rest and restoration. If you don't find that balance and you're always running behind the almighty dollar, you hear what I call it? The almighty dollar. See, because what happens is that suddenly money takes the place of that higher power that you're supposed to have that relationship with. And that's all wrong. Because at the end of the day, as I said before, when the money does not come for you, it's not there for you, what are you going to fall back on? Get that balance. Write down the time that you're going to invest in productivity so that it brings in the income that you desire to have. What is your plan? What is your vision? It must be clear, it must be concise, and then you now must have the discipline to follow that plan. And as we go along, we do assessments. And if there are any adjustments to be made, you make the adjustments. It requires discipline, and it requires a sense of having a vision for the future. And remember, it is not a destination, it's a process. And you have to find a way to enjoy the process, because when you enjoy the process, that is when the learning takes place. So that is how I would deal with situations. And I think I would have covered all three. The most important thing is, do you align your values with the tool, or have you separated them and now found a way to show how you can invest your time to produce the income that is necessary for your upkeep and your sustenance?
Exactly. I find it easier to coach those who feel guilty over wanting more money because they understand when it's all about responsibility, and it comes together eventually. No matter how much they fight me, it comes together eventually. And those who are struggling with not having enough money truly to live in this world, it's still about responsibility and it's still about leadership. And once you take on that responsibility, and it goes along with one of my other favorite terms that I throw out at everybody is priority focus. So once they put all of this together, it really is so beneficial. I truly wish more people would come to realize. I had a coach way back before I ever thought I would ever be a coach. And it was so helpful. Even if you have one for 1 month, if do your research, get somebody good, it is so helpful to just help you to start thinking of things in a different way,
Yep.
especially because a lot of times people think that they have that from their friends or their family, and they're not coaches. They're not telling you
Yeah.
it's not, yeah, you can't get it from them.
Yes.
So, yes, it definitely is.
Can I just add a little bit to that?
Absolutely.
The reason why Deborah is intimating that, and I understand her fully, is that if you get involved with a professional coach, what they are faced with is the entire ecosystem around you. What do I mean by that? Your job, your wife, your husband, your social circle or cycle, the things that you think about with regards to people, how you see people, your attitude, your attributes, your characteristics, your mannerisms, all these things we deal with as coaches. So if you're going to a family member, they can't see those things because they already have a predestined idea of who you are, what you do in their minds. The coach needs to have an open mind to see things that you are not seeing and to help you to realize maybe if you saw it this way or that way, you can change the dynamics, you can change the paradigm of your circumstances. So I thought that is important for us to know because it clears up the idea that you can use a family member as a substitute. There's no substitute for a professional coach because the objectivity level is totally different. It's off the charts.
Yeah. It's just impossible. It's like trying to tell some of these great things that you know are true to your own kids. You could never, right? They're not going to take it the same way from you.
Yes.
I used to, when my kids were little, I used to tell my mom I have 2 girls and a boy, and I would tell her, could you please suggest this to my daughters because they don't want to hear it from mom, but grandma is okay. And so sometimes you have to, just knowing that though, right? You have to be logical about it.
Yep.
So I do want to ask you a few leadership questions. I actually wrote a book, a short guide for parenting about leadership, and it's called Do You Parent with Leadership? And that's what I started out doing, is just a parenting course. It's evolved since then. But all of the great leadership skills that we use in our businesses, I feel are the same skills that you should use in our personal life, in our parenting techniques, in everywhere, because it's not about being the boss. It's about being open, asking the right questions, and growing with each other. What do you think when you're coaching, especially on leadership? What is one of the biggest myths that you love to just bust wide open?
Leadership. Wow, that's such a huge and varied dimension. We have autocratic leaders, we have democratic leaders, we have leaders who think that they are dictators, we have leaders who are laissez faire in their attitudes. It's wide, it's varied. But to me, the greatest leaders are the ones who can burst this myth wide open. The myth that says a leader is supposed to be in full control of all things at all times. That's an impossibility. That is never in anybody's lifetime going to happen. On the other hand, if you look at the example of a Walt Disney or Henry Ford, what made these men great? Or even a Thomas Edison, what made these men great? It was the fact that they saw in people the same desire to succeed, and they incorporated the use and the help and the skill and the belief and the loyalty of these people to create a product. And their legacy has lived on longer as a result of that. So there's this old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go all by yourself. But if you want to go far, take company along with you. That's the key. No man is an island. And Rome was not built in a day. And I know they sound like simple cliches, but think about the perspective. Think about the principle. If you are a leader and you're leading people, a team, whether it's in business, in social standards, or even in your home, because if you're the man, you're supposed to be the leader of your household. There are three things that you must be always cognizant of. One, you are a servant while being a leader. Two, the greatest aspect of your ability to lead is to do so by example. So all the attributes, all the characteristics, all the traits of a leader that understands his or her position and is willing to be humble, willing to be grateful for the people that are around you, because now you have to engage in their loyalty, which way they are going to invest in your dream, your belief, your vision, your purpose. You must learn to appreciate that. And three, when you can multiply and create leaders as good as you or better than you, you are accomplishing much as a leader. So forget the fact that you must be totally in control 100%. It's never going to happen. But if you understand that once the team sees that you care, that you understand and you appreciate them and you value their input in making whatever dream or goal that you have a reality, it makes a big difference. In addition to that, if you as a leader cannot empathize with people, you're missing a great, valuable tool. And that might be an extension to the question, but at the end of the day, it is not, it is we, it is us. That myth, no good. Throw it out the window. It's about us. The team comes first, not the leader.
I agree. And you know what? Cliches are cliches for a reason, because there's usually a lot of truth in them. And you know what? I love that you said that you want to create leaders that are better than you.
Yes.
Again, that's why I connected to parenting. Do you not want your children to be better than you? Doesn't every parent want their children to exceed what they've done? So it's all about empathy. And that I talk a lot about emotional intelligence, and that fits right in. So, yes, I definitely agree with you there, as in most things. So, tell me, we already talked about the different barriers. What about how you would approach coaching someone who's already at the top of their game, and maybe they want to go one more level? There's something to be said. You could be at the top of your game, and there are people who are billionaires who are doing a lot of good for the world. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And there's a place for them. I read, I don't know where I read this, but I read somewhere that there's people who are meant to work for nonprofits. And then there are people who are meant to support nonprofits. And we need both of them. So those people who are at the top of their game, but want to even get to the next level, what would you do to help break them through?
I love this question. And first of all, you mentioned something there that is critical to people understanding that there's no limit to success. The limit lies in our mind. I would describe what you just described as a calling. If you know what your calling is, it's critical, because the rest of what you do as an individual becomes much more easier, and you can handle it from a more objective perspective rather than going all over the place. To get directly to your question, let me give you an example. I was listening to an interview with Usain Bolt, arguably the greatest sprinter of all times, based on his records and his times. And he was asked this question. Usain Bolt, you have men like Asafa Powell, Justin Gatlin, Tyson Gay, some of the greatest sprinters of all times all around you. But at the end of the day, when you get into the competition that matters, you always seem to take it to another level because you've been beating these guys over and over again, even at the top of their game, and you make it look so easy. And he said to the person that was interviewing him, when I go into training and my people ask me to do 100 push-ups or 100 sprints, I tell myself that number is not enough. And it was so simple that he was saying that. What do you mean by that? When I train as if I am competing, so that when I get through my reps, I push myself to the extent until I am drained, I drop on the ground, I'm out of breath, but I let my body know that this is what I demand of you because of the goal that I have in mind. Every time I show up on the track, I must be at my best. So what I do in practice then comes out in the competition. And that blew me away. I was listening to Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant was saying, at the age of 6, I knew that I wanted to be the Black Mamba. 6 years of age, I knew it. I knew what I had to do. I knew that my physical abilities were shortcoming, and I had to work overtime to do that. And when he got into the NBA at the age of 18, what he did was, when everybody was working out 2 times a day, Kobe would work out 3 times per day. So what do you do when you're at the top of your game and you need to go to the next level? Shoot for the next level 1% at a time, 1 day at a time, incrementally, step by step. However, study how you can adjust yourself to get to that level. Jerry Rice, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time with the San Francisco 49ers, he said whenever he was in a practice session, he did the practice session as if it was a real game, and he saw his teammates as the opponents. Now, in business, whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, CEO, as the case might be, if you can have a vision of yourself incrementally increasing, not because you want to be competitive, but you want to be relevant. How do you stay relevant? Just by striving for that 1 extra % in what you do. And over time, it's going to increase, it's going to build up. People are going to see it and recognize it for what it is. And you will find a greater level of satisfaction knowing that you don't peak, you just climb step by step.
It's that simple. Go the extra mile.
That's right.
I used to own a gym years ago, and I would love to hire people who say they volunteered a lot. And I was questioned on that a couple of times, like, why would you do that? Because my experience as a volunteer is that people who volunteer a lot go the extra mile. You do that extra and you're not getting paid. That's what a volunteer is. You do it because you're helping, you want to, or you just feel the need to do your best. That's all. Responsible to do your best. So I do think it's very important to know yourself and to just push yourself, get out of your own way. A lot of times that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I have one last question for you.
Sure.
I'm going to ask this last question. I usually end after that with some rapid fire questions. I'm going to skip that because I want to leave everybody with all of this great knowledge. So I'm going to skip that part. But my last question is, if you could, and I know we don't give an aha moment to people, they have to get it themselves, but if you could strike them on the path, I would say, to an aha moment, what would that be like? What would that look like to you? What would that change be like for most people?
So here's a secret, Debra. Everybody has a price. Andy, what do you mean by that? If I were to ask you, if I told you I would give you $10 million to spend a week in the jungle, you have shelter, you have protection, you may have a weapon, there's no water. You have to find water, you have to find food. Would you accept the challenge? There's no television, there's no radio, there's no cell phone, no contact. It's you and you alone in the realms of nature. You stay there a week, I guarantee you $10 million. Would you do it?
I'm in.
And you may. Right. And the reason why I ask that is simply this. Mel Fisher spent 16 years before he found the sinking Spanish galleon called the Atocha. And the treasure that he found there was worth $500 million US. Technically, that was Mel's price because he invested 16 years of his life. Lost 2 people in the Caribbean tropical waters due to storms and what have you. Lost friends, lost family, lost supporters, but he did not give up. His aha moment was finding the Atocha, recovering the treasury or the treasures, and get compensated. What is your price? What is your big why? What is the value that you place on it? When I ask people that, I ask them to think carefully about it. What is the one thing that you would do almost anything for because it will be the most gratifying moment for you in your life? Is it meeting with President Biden? Is it going to Dubai on an all expenses paid trip for a month? Is it having money come into your account for the rest of your life without you having to work? Everybody, Deborah, has a price. When I help you find out what your price is and it aligns with your why, suddenly your eyes light up, your pupils dilate because it's that aha moment. That information hits your prefrontal cortex and you say to yourself, yes, you said you just might do it. Why? 10 million sounds like something that relates to you. For some people, nah, it's got to be more than that. So when I help you find out what your aha moment is based on your sense of value and your why, and I give you it in the reality of your imagination, and it rings a bell, boom, it's like the affinity thing. It just clicks. And for me, that is more satisfying than all the time we would have spent going through the limiting beliefs and the doubts and the fears and all the other echo challenges that you have to face with. Because in that moment, there's dopamine release. In that moment, there's oxytocin release. Suddenly, they want to be amenable and amicable with everybody else. Why? I can dream about my aha moment.
Exactly. I just did a podcast, a solo podcast on Ikigai. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
It's okay. And it's all about finding your passion. And people say, I don't know my passion, or I know it, but I can't get to it. It's out of reach. Or they're so misaligned a lot of times. They think their passion is something. I'm like, your passion has to be something that you're compelled to do.
Here's the thing, Debra. Every time they say that, I ask them the question, what if? Just use your imagination. What if? And we all have that. You lead them down that path. Eventually, boom, it's there.
That's right. Andy, this has been so wonderful. I did keep you longer than I told you I would. But before I let you go, I want to say this to you. Did you know that there are ancient leaders who used journaling as a form of self-coaching? Have you heard of that?
I use it as well.
Okay, that makes sense to me because when I read about that and then I was preparing for your interview here today, it brought that back to my mind because I said, the way Andy communicates that I've seen so far is like a modern day take on what these ancient leaders have done. So I just love that the way you approach things and communicate. And I, again, want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of your wisdom with everyone.
Thank
It's
you.
been
I
so
appreciate it. And I appreciate you, Deborah. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Oh, before we go, do you have
Yes.
anything you want to say, your last closing remarks that you want
Yeah,
to leave
I
people
would.
with?
I would. When everyone comes to a point in their life where the $1 billion question is asked, why am I here? I help them to remember that they have a story that is unique and original to them. My parting thought is simply this: no matter what your story is, it is the most valuable thing that you have, because now it is your experience, but tomorrow it will become your legacy. Cherish it.
Beautiful, beautiful ending words, Andy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's it, folks. Thanks for joining us on Family, Business, and Beyond. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us reach more people and make a bigger impact. Remember to follow us on social media for more tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes content. And don't forget to check out our online courses and webinars to continue your journey of empowerment and growth. Stay inspired, cast aside the doubt, let your dreams shout. Until next time, keep embracing the joy within and pursuing your passions. This is Debra Kane, signing off. That's it, folks. Thanks for joining us on Family, Business, and Beyond. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us reach more people and make a bigger impact. Remember to follow us on social media for more tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes content. And don't forget to check out our online courses and webinars to continue your journey of empowerment and growth. Stay inspired, cast aside the doubt, let your dreams shout. Until next time, keep embracing the joy within and pursuing your passions. This is Debra Kane, signing off.